Good morning, children. Let us start with the second session of microorganism. So, quickly we will revise what we have done in our earlier session. We will see some definition. You will remember this definition. You can take down this in your notebook. Some definitions to remember: communicable diseases. These are microbial diseases. Diseases caused by microbes that spread from one infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food, or physical contact, such as cholera, chickenpox, common cold, and tuberculosis. Carriers. What are carriers? Insects and animals that carry diseases causing microbes and transfer them from one place to another are called as carriers or vectors, such as houseflies and mosquitoes. So you are going to take down these points in your notebook. Next, we will see microorganism. What are microorganisms? They are tiny organisms that cannot be seen with the naked eyes. Microorganism can be seen only through a microscope. The entire body is made up of only one cell. Next, see, microorganisms, they are very tiny and the entire body is made up of only one cell. That's why you cannot see with the naked eye. You need a compound microscope. So a compound microscope, you can see a picture of a compound microscope which has various magnification as per the requirement of the slide which we put to see in the microscope. We can adjust the magnification. So it is very useful to see those unicellular organisms. Next we will go for some unicellular organism. We can see over here bacilli. Here you can see they are very small, very tiny. They cannot be seen with naked eye, but it is magnified under compound microscope. Then you can see cocci, another type of bacteria. You can see cocci is very small. Next, Vibrio, Spirilla. This is again very small, cannot be seen with naked eye. Here you can see colony of this is the colonies of microorganism, this bacteria, unicellular again. Next we will see again one more type of unicellular organism, that is protozoa. So now protozoa, you can see over here animal like unicellular organism and solitary or colonial, free living, parasitic or symbiotic. So you are going to take down this point in your notebook. Again now we will see amoeba. Again it is a unicellular organism. You can see the diagram of amoeba. You have learned in your earlier class about the amoeba. It is a unicellular organism which has food vacuole, contractile vacuole, nucleus, food vacuole again, and you will have pseudopodia. Pseudopodia are false feet. So false feet used to engulf or take in food. So it is called as false feet because it is actually projection. So projection, the outgrowth comes out when it has to take food in. So pseudopodia, pseudo means false, podia means feet. Next we will see, you have to draw this diagram in your notebook, children, very neatly with the labeling. So kindly draw this diagram in your notebook with the labeling very neatly. Next, again paramecium, you have to draw this diagram in your notebook very neatly. It is one of the type of protozoa. It is again a single cell organism. So paramecium, you can see over here, it has food vacuole, macronucleus, contractile vacuole, micronucleus and anal pore, mouth pore. So all these you have to label in the diagram. So please draw this in your notebook along with the labeling, to draw very neatly in your notebook. Next, structure of Euglena. Again it is a single cell algae. So it's a single cell algae. Cannot be seen with naked eye. Again you need a microscope to see this. It has flagellum, it has stigma, nucleolus, chloroplast, then it has contractile vacuole. So this diagram should be done in the notebook along with the labeling very neatly. Next we will see fungi. Fungi are what? Non-green plants. That is, they lack chlorophyll. That's why you must have observed fungus always in white colored pores or dots you can see on stale food. So they are group of simple plants. They have pigments which give them color, and they may be unicellular or multicellular. Please make a note in your notebook. Next we will see green algae. This is genus. It comes under the genus of green algae. So this is called as Chlamydomonas. So Chlamydomonas is again a single cell genus of green algae. It has flagellum, vacuole, nucleus, chloroplast, which is cup shaped, pyrenol, starch grains, cell wall, mitochondrion, eye spot, that is stigma, and contractile vacuole again here. So now you have to draw this diagram in your notebook. It is extremely important. Very neatly along with the labeling. I hope you are drawing. Next, you will see the uses of the microorganisms. So now the commercial use over here: milk product, lactobacillus help in the formation of milk products like cheese and curd. It converts lactose sugar in milk to lactic acid. In acidic condition, the milk protein case incorporate to form curd. Cottage cheese or cheese, lactobacillus and streptococcus. Curd and cheese manufacturers use rennet to speed up the process of formation of curd. Cheese by making the formation of curd or cheese by making the milk more acidic. So here you can see the commercial use of the microorganism. They are useful microorganism. Next, the process of conversion of sugar to acid or alcohol is called fermentation, which we have done in a previous class. I hope you all are making points in your notebook, children. Please take down these points as notes in your notebook. So this is fermentation definition you can take down, and where it is used in alcoholic beverages, wine, beer. Fermentation of grapes and barley results in formation of alcohol, wine and beer again, and carbon dioxide is given out. And here, over here, when you add yeast, you get alcohol and carbon dioxide gas. So you are going to write in your notebook. Next, you can make bread needing flour, salt, sugar, yeast and water. Yeast, alcohol and carbon dioxide formation happen. The dough rises in volume due to carbon dioxide produced. The bread becomes spongy and porous. When baked, the alcohol evaporates and yeast is killed at 180 degrees Celsius. That's why it is consumable, it is edible, because it is at 180 degrees Celsius when it is baked. The yeast which is there in the making of the bread in the dough, it will get killed. So it will be harmless because it is killed. Now making vinegar, coffee and tobacco, you use Acetobacter fabarum, that is coffee, and for making vinegar you need Acetobacter aceti. So these are the commercial uses you should know, and you should write this in your notebook. Next, making toothpaste, where it is used now, shells of diatoms algae used to give it a gritty texture that helps cleaning of teeth. So here you can use xanthan gum from Xanthomonas capstiris. So this is can be used to make toothpaste because of the gritty texture, helps in cleaning teeth. I hope you are making points, children, in your book. Now the revision, what we have done in your previous session, let us see. We have seen medicinal use of antibiotics. Here, medicines that destroy disease causing microbes. Certain bacteria and fungi produce antibiotics. You have done this in your previous session. Please make a note in your notebook if you have not done so. So penicillin is a very important antibiotic, covers most of the strain of the bacteria. Then streptomycin, tetracycline, then preparation of vaccines. How vaccines are prepared? Vaccines are prepared. They are preparation of killed or weakened disease causing microbes. So in my earlier session, I had spoke about vaccines and how they are prepared by weakening the microbes which is causing diseases. So let us see now. Antibodies are substances produced by the body that fight against and destroy disease causing microbes and also protect it from future infection by the same microbe. So how it works, when a vaccine is introduced into the body, by swallowing or injecting, the body produces antibodies against these killed or weakened disease causing microbes. These antibodies remain in the body and protect the body from future infection by the same microbe. So then you develop the immunity for that particular microbe because of the vaccine. Example over here: cholera, polio, typhoid, smallpox, hepatitis, etc. So with these children, we'll see next how do housefly transfer pathogens. We are going to go into detail how they spread disease and all in the next session. So today we end for the session. Thank you children. Have a nice day.